Hello and welcome to Dreams of Wings, and welcome here to a very murky Bodo in Norway. So what I'm going to be doing here is it's a leg of a group flight that's happening on the Discord. The Discord, I hear you say. The Discord. Let me just lock that off so that my head is bobbing around everywhere. Eugenator on the Aerodrome Discord has put together a very interesting. It's kind of like a group flight, but it's more like an extended. Well, it's called Exercise Clockwork, and it's like an extended group flight over a period of a week. Starts tonight. I put a link in the Discord. If I remember, I'll keep putting a link as we go along as well, because just in case people join late. But that starts tonight. Unfortunately, I can't make it. So what I'm doing is taking the King Air and taking the tier medals, which are very important. Started at Lossiemouth. I started doing it yesterday, doing it in 4 legs. And today is the final leg. And let's see if I can get this to actually work. I can show you on the charts. My God, it worked. Amazing. So we're going to be going from Bodo down here, tootling along up here, and we're going to be finishing off at Bardufoss. Apologies if anyone is Norwegian and you're wondering where that pronunciation is coming from. That's where we're going to be ending up. So it's an IFR flight. And I'm also going to be using SayIntentions. Let's see if that button works. I'll tell you why I'm not so sure in a second. There we go. So we're going to be using SayIntentions for the ATC. Doing flights like this, I like having ATC because I just think it adds to it. I used to use Pilot to ATC, and now I'm trying out SayIntentions.AI. I've bought a monthly subscription to it, and I'm just going to see how it goes. It's really interesting. I have had to roll it back. There's a bit of an issue with the latest version to do with microphones, so I have rolled it back, and I did a flight yesterday which went pretty well. It's important to say, firstly, I'm no expert. This isn't a tutorial. If you're of a disposition where you get irritated by mistakes, don't watch. Also, SayIntentions obviously is still in development, so there's going to be mistakes from me. There may be mistakes from SayIntentions, but between the two of us, we should have a nice chilled out flight anyway. So, right, let's have a quick look and get my act in order and see what I've got. So I've got that set up. I've got that set up. I can take off the. There we go. Recenter that. I've also had to repair my yoke. I've got the Fulcrum Yoke, and it was propped up against a wall the other day. And wrong button. Let's try that one. And I knocked it, and I knocked it in a way that it banged against a load of stuff, and I actually managed to break some of the buttons on it. So yesterday, I've got to the age of my mid-50s where I've never had to solder anything. And then I had to order a cheap soldering kit from Amazon and then solder some replacement buttons, which luckily I had back on yesterday, and put it all back together. And it seems to be working, but this is the first flight since I've done all that to it, so we'll see how that goes. Right, so I just need to do a bit of housekeeping here and move some bits and pieces around. So I need that window up there so I can see the chat. I don't think there's anyone in the chat just yet, but if there's anyone, there's definitely people watching. So hello, and as I say, this is going to be quite a chilled out, nice little flight, hopefully. Right, so done that. So one of the challenges I always find when I'm streaming is that I feel like I need to be talking to you, but I also need to be concentrating on what the hell I'm doing. So I think you can see that. Yep, you can see that. I've still got it up on the screen. So I've got a flight plan that I've put in through SimBrief, and that's what you saw in Navigraph charts. SayIntentions.AI has obviously recognizes where I am. It's also linked to my mapped to my Navigraph system, so it knows that I've got a flight plan in there. I don't know what else to tell you about it really. It's obviously recognised. At the moment it says VFR because I haven't asked for a clearance. It's got the aircraft registration up there top right. Big thanks to Tacit Blue from the Discord for telling me how to correctly pronounce the call sign that I'm going to be using. Yeah, so we're good to go there. So flight plan in, that's there. Everything should be fine. What I need to do now is start the aeroplane, and then we can actually get going. So let's turn that off again. Poof. It is murky, isn't it? Right, just get my positioning. There we go. So that's all good. Quick check. That's all connected. That's all good. And all my physical controllers are doing fine. That's good. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of that for the time being. Quick check that parking brake is on. It is. Let's get some power. Everything is coming on nicely. Get rid of those. All good. Quick check of that. Yep, all our annunciator lights are working. Get rid of that again. I'm not going to be using like a full long checklist because from previous experience people get bored out of their skulls when I do that, so I am going to leave that as I say. Let's get some lights on because we're about to start whapping things around, and otherwise I am happy to leave that as it is. So that's all good. Quick check of the fuel, plenty of fuel, that's good to go. Right, so we're going to start engine 2 to start off with. So first of all, let's watch that. Watching the RPM here, wait for it to stabilize, and then put it into low idle. Watch the ITT, it doesn't matter if it goes above the red momentarily, you can see the start marker there, and that's all good. Keep checking that. When it gets to 50, we can have starter off. And now I'm going to put, let's have the generator on. I'm now going to put it into high idle because we're going to use that current that it's producing to start engine 1. And up here, let's have some lights on. It is murky, isn't it? Let's have a quick look here. That's so good. You can see here generator 2 is generating some current, hence the name. Right, so that's all good. We've got a good start with engine 2. Let's go engine 1. Introduce the fuel to low idle. Passing the 50 point, we can have starter off. And past 60, let's have the generator on. Oh, I'll get that click spot. There we go. And we can bring back engine 2 to low idle again now. What I will do, just for my own benefit, is I'm moving my physical controllers forward slightly. I have had situations before where my physical controller here was just above, or just at the biting point of low idle. I knocked it ever so slightly and it went to fuel cut off, and that was very embarrassing. Right, that's there, that's all good. If anyone is in the chat, it's very quiet out there, but if anyone is in the chat, if you can just give me a shout if the noise levels are okay. The engine is quite quiet anyway, but if it's too quiet, do let me know and I'll crank it up a bit for you. Right, so let's have inverters on. Master avionics, quick look here, that's on, auto feather on, put taxi lights on now because we'll start moving soon. Let's have pitot on, not going to do strobe yet. Let's get you back to that screen there, and we'll put bleed air onto envir off.
TOS, system test okay.
And that's all good. Check the heating. Yep. Okay, that's good. Down here, rudder boost, electric trim are good to go. And then while I remember, I just like having that panel there. It's a lot easier when you're trying to use the autopilot. It's a lot easier using that version rather than fiddling down here. Right, okay, quick look over here. That's okay, but I do need to arm the oxygen. Otherwise, I'm happy with what I'm seeing there. They will come off when I put it onto bleed air valves fully open. That will change once we have some more juice and the left ignition has come on because the throttle is low. So I'm happy with that. Quick look down here again just to make sure that everything is looking fine there. That's good. Okay. Right. Thank you, William. Much appreciated. Good to have you here. FD Minner, fantastic. Thank you ever so much. Aidan, thank you, my friend. That's great. And Jan Leig, you got. I don't know. I don't know if that's Jan Leig. That's a great name, and my pronunciation is terrible. So I do apologise for that, sir. But thank you very much for saying that the sound level is perfect. I am guessing that's Jan. Please tell me otherwise. There's one thing I hate is mispronouncing people's names. It's bad enough mispronouncing places, but names is shocking. Right, next thing I need to load in my flight plan. It wouldn't be the first time I've got to the holding point at the runway and suddenly realised I'd not loaded in my flight plan into the GTM. So let's do that and quick check. What are we looking for? Enbo to Endu. Enbo sounds like something out of Lord of the Rings to me. Enbo to Endu. There we go. And so we want to activate that. What's it giving in the way of proceed? Right, let me just lock that there and then it's not bouncing around. So procedures, we have got a couple of those to load in as well. So we've got on a departure, which is Pen 02B. Boom, boom, boom. Get out of the way. I don't think you can see that, can you? Bloody WinZip. It's still WinZip on this new machine. And even though I've paid for a version of it, I keep getting messages coming up saying, do I want to upgrade? No! Leave me alone. Right. So that's all good. Transition point is correct. Let's go back here. And now we add in our arrival, which is the XAPA2P. XAPA2P. I have no idea how you would... Zappa, 2N, maybe. Transition is Zapan, which is good. Let's load that. And we haven't got an approach yet, so I'm going to leave that for the time being. As I say, if you just joined, I'm no expert. This is no tutorial by any stretch of the imagination. I'm actually learning as I go with this kind of stuff, really. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Right, so quick mental check for myself. I've got the flight plan loaded in there. I've got my flight plan over here. Everything else is good to go. What I will do, we'll do a quick radio check with SayIntentions just to make sure that that's okay. So where is my radio check frequency? Is 118.01. So come here. 118.01. There we go. Right, let's try that. Rough Air 2343, request radio check.
This is what the ATC audio sounds like, and next is what yours sounds like.
Rough Air 2343, request radio check.
Need to get someone else to do the radios, that's for sure. I sound awful. Right, so that's our radio check done, so that's working. Quick slurp of pilot juice. That is tea. Something else you can probably still see on the screen, I'm hoping you can still see the ATC, is it says taxi tuned. Now interestingly, I've just realised that the version of it that's appearing on the screen there. Let me just move that out of the way. It doesn't have. So on my version here, I've got a load of information. For some reason, that is not transferring through into this. Although it does appear. Let me try. That's strange. Yeah, whole panel of information here is missing on the version that's appearing on here. Let's just have a quick look. Let's have a quick look. See if I can do something about that. Say intentions. So that does appear to be picking up the right one. But for some reason, you see, even that looks different. Okay. Not quite sure why it's picking up a different window to the one I'm actually using, but so I'm actually going to get rid of that now because that's probably not much use to you. Actually, no, I'm going to leave it up for the time being just to see if that changes. See if there's anything that triggers it to actually change. But funny how you're seeing a different one to me. Anyway. Right, so we've done that. What I need to do now is get our clearance. So looking at the frequency list here that you can't see, unfortunately, there's no ground, but there is tower on 118.1. So let's do that, 118.1. And we transfer that. And that's all good. 118.1, cool, okay. Bido Tower, RAF Air 2343, ready to copy IFR clearance. Ooh, first mistake. Should have got the ATIS first.
RAF Air 2343, Bido Tower, I hear you. 1 sec.
I love those accents, it just adds to it. 123.9. You silly boy.
RAF Air 2343, Bido Tower, information mic is current. Clear to Bardufoss via the P02 Bravo departure, then as filed. Departure runway 25. Initial climb to 12-1-2000. Departure on 124.0, squawk 5143.
Okay. Cleared to Bardufoss via the Pen 02B departure, then as filed, departure runway 25, initial climb to flight level 120, departure on 124.0 and squawk 5143 RAF Air 2434. Got my call sign the wrong way around. So that's fine.
Right Air 2343, read back, correct.
I don't think I was, but thank you ever so much. Right, so squawk 5143. Yeah, your box isn't changing at all up there, is it? Hi, Anders, how are you doing? That is really weird how that box is staying the same. I'm going to have a play with that once we get in the air, but I don't want to waste any more time. What I will do is take it out for the time being. Boof. There we go. Right. So we did that. I've put in the squawk. I am going to listen to the ATIS so that we can get that. Should have done that before. This is what I'm talking about. Mistakes will happen. There we go.
Information mic. Bod Airport. Information mic. 1020 Zulu. Wind 250 at 9er. Visibility 10. Sky conditions. View at 1400 feet. Scattered at 2000 feet. Broken at 4500 feet. Temperature 17. Dew point 13. QNH 1013. Arriving and departing runway 25. Visual approach is in use. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if basic...
Okay, let's get rid of that. So, quick look here. Just zoom that in a little bit. That's all good. So, I've finally got that QNH is 1013, which is kind of handy. Can leave it on there. I am actually on live weather, so I'm a little bit surprised that it's the same. But there you go. That's quite handy. So quick mental check. I've got my clearance. Aircraft is good to go, and yeah, we might as well get cracking. Let me just get the chat back up before I start aviating. FT Miller, hello, and Bartman, hello. Good to have you along. Thanks for joining. Before I actually take off, I will quickly just say, if you didn't catch the beginning, this is a leg of a group flight that's taking place later on the Discord. Discord's called the Aerodrome. It used to be called Dreams of Wings. Changed it to the Aerodrome because it's actually more about a community of people who are all into aeroplanes and helicopters and this sort of thing, rather than a YouTube channel. So this is a group flight that a chap called Eugenator has put together. It's pretty much a week-long flying activity, but it starts tonight with a flight out from RAF Lossiemouth over to Bardufoss. And I'm just doing the final leg of it, really. I've flown from Lossiemouth already yesterday, so I'm just doing the final leg now. Right, okie doke. Let's get into pilot mode. Quick look around. That's all good. Nothing going on. Oh, I've got my labels on, haven't I? Let's just get the labels off. Right, quick look down. Taxi lights are on, nav lights are on, beacons on. That's all good. Happy with all that. Happy with the warnings that I've got because I know what they're about. What did she say? Initial climb flight level 120. I will just wind this down a little bit. I'm going to leave it round about there because I think we'll probably end up, well, we'll definitely end up climbing higher anyway. I just reminded me again, if you've caught late and you haven't seen it, I've not done the complete checks because it bores people senseless, but you can check that the cabin pressurization is working. I absolutely love this King Air, I really do. I know it's not one of the newest releases that they've Black Square have done, but I absolutely love it. I just wish I could fly it better. Okay, right, let's recenter Track IR or Grass Monkey. I keep calling it Track IR after years of habit. Right, so what are we? Runway 25. One of the interesting things about SayIntentions, because it's AI, is that it's whereas Pilot to ATC was very much a kind of a stuck phraseology. SayIntentions seems to understand you even if you don't say it exactly as the scripts would say it. So be interesting to see what it goes. I've just been distracted. William, that's amazing news. Black Square is going to refresh all their older aircraft with improvements. Chuffed to bits with that. Absolutely chuffed to bits with that. It's silly little things like not being able to open the doors. I know that's daft, but it's little things like that that make it cool. But yeah, this really is a nice aeroplane. Just looking at the temperature there, 18 degrees. We've got Enviro off at the moment. That's why the temperature isn't rising. Right. Quick look over there. That's all good. Fantastic. Right, let's go. So, who the hell am I talking to again? Right. Ready for taxi to runway 25, RAF Air 2343.
RAF Air 2343, taxi to runway 25 via Yankee Foxtrot.
Taxi to runway 25 via Yankee and Foxtrot, RAF Air 2343. So we just have a quick look here. So we got Yankee and I was going the other way there because I thought I was on, when I landed I was on the other side, and Foxtrot. So Foxtrot will be here. Let's have a quick look over here. Let's get the charts. I need to get rid of that. Get rid of that. And go and see what it says on here. Okay, yeah. So we are here, and there's Foxtrot, and that's where we want to end up. So that's all good. And then we're going to be doing the departure, so I'll whack that on, and that is all good to go. Okay. Right, let's get you back onto this screen. That's another one of my favourite things to do, is leave the stream stuck on charts, which is great for people who love charts. It really works a treat, but yeah, it's not always the most interesting thing to do. So, quick look down here. Where am I again? Let's go back here. I'm here, and I'm going that away. Just double check that. Yeah, I'm going that away. Apologies if I do seem to check things a lot, but it's only because it's very easy when you're streaming and trying to do something like this. It's very easy to forget things, as you saw me do with the ATIS. Right, a little bit of power. Okay, there we go. Let's try that again. My physical throttle was in. Check the brakes. My physical throttle was in reverse mode. Yeah, William, of course you can. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if you'll be able to, but you can certainly try. It's rather bumpy. Norway is just gorgeous to fly in. It really is. Hugonator picked a nice one with this, that's for sure. Seen some cracking terrain. Now I am on multiplayer, so I just need to make sure that I don't ruin someone's day. Quick look at that. Doesn't matter what ATC tell me to do. If I move into the way of someone's flight, there we are. Just realised my chair is a little bit close to the pedals here. So I'm just going to move that back a little bit. There we go. Back on the pedals. There we go. That's better. That's still working. Okay. My blackout blind that I have to use for my grass monkey is just partly peeled down. So as soon as the sun comes out, that could cause us a problem. I've got a window just here with blinds on it, and as soon as you get a bit of UV coming through that, it causes a problem. If you posted the William, if you posted the link in the chat, it hasn't gone through, mate. It could be that it's blocked. If you're on the Discord, then feel free to post it in there. That's definitely good to know. So what I'm going to have to do is, when I quickly get to the end here, I'm going to have to get up and repair my my wonderful blackout blind, which, don't worry, it won't take long. It's always the same. If something's going to go wrong, this always stays up when I fly. Always. Go on a live stream and it comes down, but that's okay. The Discord, if you William, if you look above, can you see that link to the aerodrome Discord? That's the one. Tuning along nicely. Weather is a little bit pants for sightseeing, but seeing as we're big boys, we should fly real weather once in a while. Oh, okay. What channel in it? It will be, if you look down, I'll just get the wording right. trying to steal an aeroplane and look at Discord at the same time. I'm sure that's not in the manual. Right, salute the devs. And then you could put it in aircraft link shares, or to be honest, you could just put it in the officers' mess bar, mate. It's information which I know people will be interested in, so I would just put it in there. I really do need to concentrate on where the hell I'm going. There we go. This is indeed where we need to go. Right, so bear with me. I'm just going to plop us here. Cheers, William. Thanks for that, mate. Right, let's just plop that back there. Let's put that there. And I will literally be about 20 seconds. Like it never happened. There you go. Right, so the blind is now back in situ. And we can fly. Okay. So, right. Ready for departure, runway 25, RAF Air 2343.
RAF Air 2343, winds calm, runway 25 cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 25, RAF Air 2343. Now, interestingly, I've not been given any instructions as to what to do after departure. I'm just going to quickly go back, just in case I miss. Cleared to by the far as far, blah blah blah. So he's given me the clearance for the departure, so I'm happy just to fly that. So that's all good. Landing lights are on. Taxi light can come off. Strobe light can come on. Tail flood can come on because it looks cool. We can put bleed air valves on now. Oxygen is already on. That's all good. Happy with that. Happy with that. Happy with that. Okay, let's quickly check. I'll just put labels on, just in case. Oh, we've got Concorde up there. Move the microphone, it's blocking that. Okay, good. So there's no one actually on the runway, because I would hate to ruin someone's Sunday morning flight. Right, quick check there. That's all good. That's brilliant. Okay, let's release the parking brake. One of the things about the King Air is that you don't have to have it in high idle all the time. High idle is literally what it says on the tin. You could use it if you're doing short takeoff or maybe short landing and you suddenly want to whack the reverse in. But otherwise, you can quite happily leave it in low idle. Okay, everything's looking good. That's fine. Happy with that. I've got that loaded in, so we know where to go. I am going to just quickly. This is a bit of housekeeping I should have done before. Just checking my altitude, so we need to be above 1,000, and that's okay. That's all good. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, and they said cleared to 12 flight level 120, didn't they? Sometimes they'll actually give you a different altitude. They'll say initial climb flight level 120, but then actually a departure will give you a different one. Let's quickly put departure in. Again, this is something you would do before you got to the runway. Have that on standby, and then I'm going to dial in 120 here, which I must admit I thought I'd done. Okay, let's go. So, brakes on. Let's introduce some power. Keep an eye on the RPM. Just let that rise nicely. That's all good. Slowly introduce some more power now. We don't want to over-egg the engines because that would be embarrassing. Right, let's go. Yeah. Just putting a little bit of nose up trim in there. Positive rate of climb, gear up. That is very dark, isn't it? I hope it's not too dark on the stream. It's a murky day. There we go. That's all good. Just bring back the RPM a little bit. And now, there we go. Helicopter has the helm. Helicopter has the helm. Forgot what I'm flying. So that's all good. We're now flying the departure. Quick look down here. No.
Air 2343, contact departure on 124.0.
Contact departure on 124.0, RAF Air 2343. So now we can, what do you say, 124, that's what we got in the box before, so that's all good. And this is where my phraseology starts to get a bit dodgy. Departure, RAF Air 2343 is climbing to flight level 120, passing flight level 30 on the Pen 02 Bravo departure.
RAF Air 2343, Bodo approach, identified, cleared direct at Uva, climb and maintain flight level 210.
Cleared direct to Tuva, climb and maintain flight level 210, RAF Air 2343. Right, so we've been cleared direct to Tuva, so let's biff that in. And now we'll cut out a little bit of the leg here, and it will do that. Sometimes it does that in real life. A controller will, if traffic allows and if it helps, they'll kind of, you might be on a SID or a star, but they might just vector you off a little bit or give you clearance to another point just to get things rolling. Just see a ship down there. Okay, let's come back a little bit on that. That's fine. We're pressurizing, which is all good. Happy with that. And our temperature is 23, so everyone in the back, all those tea and medals that are stashed around the back there are keeping nice and cozy, and everything else is looking good. Right, let's quickly lock that off. Quick look at the chat. Commander Sage, hello. And wow, Plainview, Minnesota, great to have you along. Felix, is it worth getting the Cowan Sim H130 in the sale? I honestly can't think of a reason why not. It's one that I haven't spent much time with since I got it. It's probably the trickiest helicopter I have found to fly so far. It's got some very interesting behaviour, but I understand from a real world, was it an H125 pilot, saying that he flew with the company he worked for also had H130s, and the pilots of the H130s all said that the H130s can have some strange behaviour. I personally think it's a beautiful helicopter to look at. I like the look of it, and I do need to spend some more time in it. It's just quite squirrely. Got some windshield icing going on, so let's just pop that on and have a quick look once that clears. Yeah, we're looking okay over there. Doesn't seem to have any ice building up on the
Air 2343, climb and maintain flight level 270.
Climb and maintain flight level 270, RAF Air 2343. Right, let's just bump you up now as well. Sorry, yeah, in answer to your question, I don't see why not, to be honest. It's certainly if you're looking for something a bit different in terms of how it flies, it's worth getting. Oh, and it's very pretty. Oh, hold off for the llama. The llama is beautiful. I've got to be honest with you. The llama and the Huey and the H145 are probably my three favourites. but the Llama and the Huey just for pure seat of the pants grit, old school heli-whoppering. They are wonderful. The Scout. I haven't got the Scout. I must admit, I'm not.
2343, contact Polaris Control on 118.55.
Contact Polaris Control on 118.55, RAF Air 2343. 118.55. And this is another point, changing frequencies, where I'm not always sure that I'm saying the right thing. So, what was it? Polaris Control, RAF Air 2343, climbing to flight level 270, passing flight level 150, inbound to Etuva. I've heard people say inbound to Etuva and given a distance, sometimes given a direction from.
RAF Air 2343, Polaris Control, good afternoon.
Do you know what I do? When SayIntentions works, it's just wonderful. It's so let me lock off that. It's so immersive. The accents, the way the voices change, what they say to you. For me. You know, I got my first flight sim in 1982. For me, it's incredible that you have this very human sounding controller. Even though I am definitely not perfect, even though sometimes the control thing can do something a little bit odd. Yesterday I had an absolutely perfect flight until I landed. I vacated the runway, I called runway vacated, the controller came back and gave me taxi instructions, and then as soon as he'd done that, he then came back as if I was still on the runway and said, vacate it, Yankee, taxi at your discretion. So I got two different types of taxi instructions. Otherwise, it was a bang-on perfect flight, and it's all driven by AI, which is just mind-blowing. Really cool. Yeah, it's an interesting question on the textures. I'm not sure. Probably. I mean, the textures on the Llama are absolutely gorgeous. And to be honest, on Cow and Sim, they're good as well. Jungle, I think the Scout is a must as I live near you. Oh, okay, yeah. No, I totally get it. If you're near Yeovilton, I completely understand why you'd want that. That kind of makes sense. I think one of the things, certainly for me, I get incredibly inspired by any kind of real world aviation that I get involved in, and so I can see an aircraft and suddenly it's an aircraft I might not have been interested in up until that point. Then all of a sudden I see the real thing and I'm in there flying it like an idiot. Right, just quick check of the instruments there. So we are, autopilot is on, we're in nav mode, which is great, it's following the departure. We're in climb mode, so this is why we're climbing to the flight level. The barometric setting is correct, our T's and P's are all looking good. I can increase a little bit more power now as the altitude is rising. I can see our cabin pressure is all good, and so that's working. Let's just quickly take off there we go, quick look over there. I can see our cabin temperature is all good, and we have plenty of oxygen, and that's all good there. That's fine. Very nice. One of the neat things about this is, and full transparency, is you can check if you're breaking anything. And I haven't broken the engines yet. That's great. This does have faults on it. I know a lot of you have probably got black sky, so you know how it works. So I'm not going to waffle about it, but that's pretty cool. Shall we have a look outside? There we go. Beautiful King Air. This is a repaint. I did write it down. Let me lock that off again. There we go. USAF Newcomb repaint. He's just released a version for the black square. This has been out for a while for the original Asobo version, but he's just released a version for Black Square, so it's great to have it there. I love the King Air. This is about as big as I ever want to get in terms of doing IFR stuff, and I'm not interested in flying tube liners, but I do like doing this just to have the IFR, the ATC, follow those procedures, do all that kind of stuff, just to train on those skills more than anything. But let's just see if we can see. There we go. See some of that terrain. It is beautiful terrain. Norway has got such interesting terrain coming from the oh, don't you crash. There we go. Had a nasty pause in the sim there. Coming of course from the all that ice that once covered it and carved out the rock. The only thing that I do find in MSFS is that sometimes the green is like really green, quite vivid. Okay, quick look around again, check that everything's okay. So we're just about to level out at 270, and then there's a couple of things we'll need to do. Let me just turn that off so we get our head tracking back, have a quick look around, check that we're all good. Yeah. I'm just going to turn this up a little bit. The pressurization looks like it's getting a little bit close to the red there. We haven't had a warning go off, which is always nice. We can have the landing lights off now. Check that everything else is good. We can turn the windshield anti-ice off now. Quick check over here, and that looks okay. So we've leveled off now. I can prop sync. I'm going to wind RPM back now to 1600. And we can leave the power levers where we are. So we've got ground speed, which is gradually increasing. And everything else looks all right, doesn't it? Cool, okay. We'll just move that there, and then I'll lock off the head tracking again so that your head isn't bobbing around, and I'll have a slurp of pilot juice.
Racer 2343, Polaris Control. Expect the ILS runway 28 approach into Bardufoss. Zappa 2, Papa arrival. I'll have your descent, just in about 18 minutes, okay?
Expect the ILS runway 28 approach into Bardufoss on the Zappa 2 Papa arrival. Rough Air 2343. So that's all totally smart. I can see there, we can see our TOD marked on the, I wonder if this will still work. Let me just try something. Yeah, it still works. There we go. We see the TOD marked on the GTN there. So that's roundabout when he will probably give us our instruction. I'm glad that my yoke is working. I gave it a real old bash. All sorts of things went wrong with it, but nothing that I couldn't have a fix with super glue and a soldering iron. So far it seems to be working okay. Right, quick look at the chat. I do apologise if I miss anything, by the way. I'm not being rude. Oh, the R66, people talking about the Robinsons. I haven't got the Robinsons, but I know because they're quite prevalent in real world flying training and that sort of thing. They're quite popular. For me personally, I've got no hankering to get one at the moment, really. I've got no need for it. I've got the H145 for doing HEMS. I've got the H160, which I'm still not spending a huge amount of time on, but I need to, ready for when the action pack comes out for that. And then I've got the Huey and the Llama. And sometimes the MD500E. That's good for giggles. But yeah, the Robinson I've really got no hankering for. The Sea Fury, Jungly, the Sea Fury. Can you imagine how good that would be? Having a Sea Fury, a good Sea Fury, an A2A quality Sea Fury in the sim. Yeah, that would be beautiful. I would love that. Bearcat as well. That would be quite good fun. I do need to get some more Warbird comment on the on the channel. I've called myself Dreams of Wings Warbirds. The Warbirds is in the logo, and recently I've been spending a lot of time in Heli Whoppers, so I do need to get some more Warbird action in there. Sikorsky CH-53, yep, that would be good. Yeah. Oh, the Chinook, Aiden. Yeah, good call. I need to get back in the Chinook. The Chinook is absolutely gorgeous, and since they updated it, I haven't touched it. But it's the thing I like about the Chinook is that it's not that difficult to fly, and it's got a huge amount of character, and the sounds are just gorgeous. Like the Huey, the sounds are just beautiful. I mean, if you're a fan of Blade Slap, I seem to remember it's quite good for that as well. But yeah, I need to spend some more time with the Chinook. Bjorn, I wonder how the action pack for the H160 is going to be like. What kind of missions are they going to implement? I completely agree with you. I'm a little surprised that it hasn't come out yet. I assume that there's a damn good reason for that. I wonder if it's got anything to do with MSFS 2024 having missions and things in it. Maybe not, but I kind of did expect to see it by now. But knowing what the guys from Hyper like, there'll be a damn good reason for it, and it will probably be a reason that will be to everyone's benefit. Maybe they're building in some new features to it, but I can't wait to do Hem's work. I can't wait to do Hem's work in the H160. Right, just having a quick look at the Discord because I can see there's been some activity going on there. Bum, 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 bum. Brilliant. I can see that now. William, thanks for posting that. I can see you've posted that in the Discord. That's cool. That's all good there. I'm going to pop it in here again. It does help having these commands, doesn't it? So there's I've just popped the Discord link in there again. Again, if you missed it earlier, very quickly, this is part of a group flight that's been organised on the Discord that I've just posted by Eugenator. The aerodrome used to be called Dreams of Wings. It was kind of like a Dreams of Wings Discord, but it very much became about the community of people on it rather than a YouTube channel, and I don't really have a great deal to use it for linked with the YouTube channel. So what I've actually done now is almost disconnected Dreams of Wings from the Discord, and it's now called the Aerodrome, which is a fitting name because it's about this community of people on the aerodrome, the virtual aerodrome, and I think that works really well. So if you're interested in group flights, go over there, and tonight is the start of Eugenator's trip, of which this is part of a leg, followed by a week of activity and bits and pieces going on there. They really are a great bunch of people. Very lucky to have a Discord of people who are into the same kind of flying, warbirds, helicopters, this kind of thing. You know, it really is great. So it's well worth popping over there for sure. Okay, right, let's have a quick look at that. Get my head back into pilot mode. The only thing I should say is that to avoid bots, it does have a little security thing that you've got to do when you get on there. You just have to give a thumbs up to a message, and then you get the role of squadron pilot, and then you can see everything. I've just done that to stop the nasty bots. Damn them. Right, so let's have a quick look over here. So that's where we are at the moment. We have exited the departure, so we can get rid of that. Come back here. There we go. And that is where we were going. Unfortunately, there we go. Get the right one. Unfortunately, as you can see, because of the cloud, we cannot see much of the ground, and this is always one of the For me, one of the challenges about streaming or making videos is, for me, a lot of the entertainment. Oh, that's the wrong word. A lot of the interest is seeing the ground. And when you've just got clouds, I'm not sure how interesting that is in terms of streaming it. But this flight is different in that because it's ATC, because it's IFR, it only seems right to use real world weather and everything. So it's that kind of compromise between real stuff going on with the ATC and everything, and crap weather that means you can't see a damn thing. So that a nice wing view there with the roundel. Very nice. Right, let's have a quick look. Fuel is good. T's and P's, everything's fine. Happy with that. Happy with the RPM. We got prop sync on. All is good. No nasty ambers or reds, and cabin temperature is 27 degrees. So the T and medals in the back are all good, and we've got a ground speed of 342, which is rather respectable. Trying to reach for me pilot juice here. Right, let's go back outside. Let's have a wee look. Unlock that off there, so the head tracking doesn't get involved. It's a lovely repaint, this, of a lovely aircraft. It does work quite nicely here. Oh, Alan, there is a Lynx. It's in development. You might have seen it on the Discord. Where is it? So this is a shout out for GenXX DCS, really. But if I know you've probably seen him on the Discord, Alan. He's actually developing a Lynx. I've not had a try on it yet, but the people that have say it's rather good, so that should be quite interesting. So I thought my door opened there. Because I'm in stream mode, I've got windows closed, I've got doors closed, it's turning into an oven in here, and co-pilot cat is, I could hear outside the door. Okay, Alan, I understand now. Yeah, for Xbox, probably not. That's a good point. That is a good point. Right, just doing a bit of housekeeping with the Discord here. Okay, Felix, I can see you've tried to join, but you just haven't done the final.
Descend via Zappa 2 Papa for the ILS runway 2. 8 approach into Bardufoss. QNH 1013.
Descend via the Zappa 2 Papa arrival for the ILS runway 28 approach into Bardufoss. QNH 1013, Rafair 2343. Right, this is where a bit of pre-planning rather than waffling would probably have helped me. So let's get the arrival on, and I'll quickly show you that. There we go. So this is our arrival. That's all good. There we go. So let's descend to 6.5. Right, head tracking off. Okay, center that. 6.5, and it's 6.5. Yeah. Okay, it's 5,000 feet rather than flight level, but then QNH is the same as the standard barometric pressure, so we don't need to worry about that. Right, going to do a descent using IAS. So That's set, and then chop on the power. Reason why I'm doing that is because I used to use descent mode when I first got into it. Use descent mode, and you end up picking up a lot of speed, and then it makes it a bit difficult at the other end when you suddenly find yourself trying to dangle flaps and gear and all that kind of good stuff, and you're bombing along at a ridiculous speed trying to lose it in any way you can. So descent using IAS certainly seems to be a better way of doing it. Right, we'll change that. That's all good. Rotor's fine. Decent descent rate. Speed's fine, and we're descending nicely. Quick look back onto here. Bum, 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 bum. So ILS runway 28, so we can bomb that in there. Flight plan, no, procedure, ILS 28, and what's our choices actually? Transition, because it hasn't given us a transition. Quick look at the map. Tells me. What are our choices again? It's going to be that. And load approach. Yes, 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 that's all good. Bang that back in. Now I'm going to lock that off. I'm going to move that there. And then I'm going to add, let's do that. Let's pop that on here so you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to add the approach, and it was, what was it, ILS, it was ILS 28, wasn't it? Memory like a sieve, ILS 28, and transition is correct, add to route. So that's all good to go, and then that's appeared there, and that's what it's going to look like. Nice and simple. No, that's the wrong one. There we go. There we go, that's better. So we've got our 6.5 that we're descending to now, then we'll come down to 5,200, and we'll be descending from there. So have a quick look at that. Got an idea of what my heights need to be, and I'm just going to leave that there and keep an eye on it actually. There we go. Right, let's get back to here so you can see the aeroplane. Right, quick check of the chat. That's interesting. Sorry, Bjorn. So Norwegian Air Ambulance using the King Air. That's good to know. The Scottish Air Ambulance use it as well. It would be kind of cool to be able to do HEMS missions in the King Air as well, and that would go really nicely with the using the H145 for HEMS stuff. But I love the King Air. It's just such a, I think it's a good looking aircraft, and this analog version I'm not into. Strangely, I love the helionic system in the Airbus helicopters, but I'm not interested so much in glass cockpits in fixed wing. So this King Air for me is absolutely gorgeous. Right, now this is interesting. I'm looking over here, and something has gone wrong with our route. So it's sending us to Otwell. Why are we going that way? Bear with me. And Zenok. I've just noticed, let me check what departure we're on. My procedure arrival is the Zappa to Papa, you idiot. There we go. Load arrival. There we go. Interesting. I was joking when I said things go wrong. So, procedures. It's the Zappa2 and that's it. Let's load arrival, and we want to go to Zappa. We now want to go to, okay, I'm going to have to, Let's activate that. Activate leg. I am amazed that air traffic hasn't given me a telling off. But that's the classic example of making a complete cock up and not realizing it. So I'd got the Zapan to November loaded up in the GTN, and I should have been on the Zappa 2P. That's just basic checking and making sure you've got the right thing loaded in the box. How I managed to do that, I don't know. But I'm sure people earlier on, when this goes into video on demand, there will be people saying, "Oh, I think you'll find you've got the wrong arrival in your GTN." Yeah, hand up, completely screwed that one up. Oh, nice. Landing at Lossiemouth as well. Cheers, Angel. That'd be great. Good to see. And welcome. Good to have you along. Right, I'm just watching the aircraft correcting itself now and slowly tutting to itself about this imbecile of a human who really missed it Billy Basic. When I said at the start this wasn't a tutorial, and I wasn't joking, but one of the things I love about this kind of stuff is making mistakes and learning by them. And it's like that in the real world of aviation, and there's no difference in terms of simming. And one of the great things about streaming something like this is because you've got the added pressure of doing a stream. I've got all these different things going on here. I've got my OBS, I've got my YouTube page with things going on, so I'm watching that, I'm making sure you're seeing the right thing and that everything's working from there, and on top of that I'm doing the flying. And it's a great way of like you would stress your rig to check that everything's working. It's a great way of stressing yourself. I don't mean stress as in, oh, I'm stressed. I mean, putting the pressure on.
2343, contact border force. Approach on 118.8.
Contact Bardufoss approach on 118.8, RAF Air 2343. I think we had a bit of Norwegian at the end there. That was very authentic. That was probably Norwegian for you stupid English pilot that hasn't got a clue how to enter an arrival into your GTN correctly. Okay. Okay, right. Let's move that there. Bardufoss approach, RAF Air 2343 on the Zappa 2 Papa arrival to runway 28. Descending to 6,500 feet, currently passing 11,000 feet. I always feel I make a mouthful of it.
Repair 2343, Bardufoss approach. Good afternoon.
Well, that's so good. Right, barometric setting is correct. We've got some icing going on, so let's change that. What I should really do when I'm streaming like this is shut up, which is probably the best thing to do, actually. I'm sure you'd probably appreciate that. Okay, that's so good. But yeah, that was kind of what I was saying before. It's great to add the pressure on, and you learn from your mistakes. And that is absolutely ridiculous. I've got my Navigraph charts over here. I've got my GTN here. Now my GTN was correct. It was because the GTN was correct in terms of that's what I'd put in there. That's what the autopilot was following. And I just happened to glance at my Navigraph charts and thought, where the hell am I going? And then I realised what was going on. So yeah, lesson learned. Double, if not triple check to the letter, to the digit, that you've got the right thing in there. Otherwise you make silly mistakes. Rusty, good to have you along, sir. Hope all is good with you. Right, let's take head tracking off. Pop those on. Everything else is good. Pressurization is working fine. Happy with that. Happy with that. That's all good. Speed is fine. And and we're descending to 6,500 feet. You will be pleased to know that I am going to actually start being a bit quiet because I need to concentrate a little bit. So that's all good. The 108.7 is the ILS frequency. That's already set up because the GTN's very clever, and because I've put that approach in, it's put that in as standby. Clever little thing. This is the TDS GTN XI 750. Amazing piece of software. Love it to bits. We've got charts in there now as well, so that you can. I know ATC is going to call me any second. Right, we've come into alt mode now, so I need to put some power back on. Let's have a quick, see if I can quickly show you it before it goes. So if we go into charts, we'll go for, just pop that one in, and you can see, we can see the charts now in there, and you can zoom in and do all that kind of good stuff as well. So it really is the, it really is a useful piece of kit now. Right, yeah, Rusty, of course, you're in Oz, aren't you? Is it Oz or New Zealand? It's Oz. I'm sure it is. We all know how Australians and New Zealanders love people confusing where they're from, but I'm pretty sure you're Oz. Just have me a quick check over there. Check that everything is moving now. That's all good. I can move that down here. Yeah, Oz, good. Happy with the speed. Visibility is absolute pants. See a little bit of
Refer 2343 Bardufoss approach. Turn right heading 100 vectors for the ILS runway 28 approach.
turn right heading 100 vectors for ILS runway 28 approach, Rafair 2343. Again, so a bit like on the departure that we did, ATC is taking us off that standard instrument. Taking us off the star, and I was going to say standard instrument departure. Taking us off the star, and he's vectoring us a bit for his convenience. And I've noticed SayIntentions. Okay, I've not done a huge amount of flights with it, but I've noticed that it does do that sometimes. I guess just to add a bit of, it's very easy just to keep following the arrival or departure, but I guess it just does that every now and again just to mix things up and to give you some control, get your money's worth out of it, making the controller do some work. Yeah, I was just looking over there at the, I think that's probably a little bit of icing on the cone. The wing looks okay. I'm not seeing any icing building up there. We've still got the windscreen icing on and the visibility.
2343 runway 28.
I don't know what you mean, but runway 28, Rafair 2343. Interesting. Not quite sure why he just said runway 28.
Refer 2343. Turn right heading 110 vectors for the ILS runway 28 approach.
Turn right, heading 110 vectors for ILS runway 28 approach. Have a horrible feeling we're going to be in a bit of a loop. Anyway, we'll see. Oh, look at that! Norway appears before us. The glacial valleys and the majesty of the mountains. There you go. There's a bit of geographical drama for you there. Finally, we get to see some ground. It is rather lovely. Okay, still pants out there, but at least we can see some things here. Yeah, Rusty, the 190. I'm looking forward to that too. I've hardly flown the 109, I must admit. They've done a great job on it, but I guess it's just an aircraft that I don't have a hankering to fly. But the 190 I think is going to be very interesting. Very interesting indeed. How's everything down here? Just keeping an eye on the speed there, I don't want to go too fast. So that power setting is absolutely fine. Let's have a look over here. I can hear Discord activity. Felix, there you go. I can see you in there now. Sorry, I just realised my head's bobbing around. There we go. Let's lock that up. Smushing. Right, that's all sorted out. Take that off. Cool. That's all fine. It's nice to see some ground, isn't it, finally? This is exactly the kind of area I love flying the helicopters around. It's great fun. So, Mr. Air Traffic Controller. So this is where we are, and he's vectored us all the way out here. So I'm interested to see what he does. He is certainly vectoring us out some way. So I'm going to trust him for a while, and then I might ask him to give us a turn. But something doesn't quite feel right, unless he's just thought, you know what, I'm going to have a little play with this one and drive the blip around the screen. Look at that scenery. Let me lock that off. You really get an idea of the way the ice was flowing by these lines here. Sorry, boring you stiff with that stuff. Okay, that's, yeah, I'm not quite sure what he's going to do. Yeah, confession time. Very, very briefly, in the early 90s, I trained as an air traffic controller. I did aerodrome, loved it. I did area procedural, which is the en route stuff without the use of a radar. Didn't enjoy it very much. And I did area radar, which is where I have to be honest, I completely lost interest. And they, you know, quite rightly, they could see that. So when I flunked my written exams, it was off you go. But if only I'd been mature enough back then to have realised that had I actually worked at it, other opportunities would have come along. But I always had this idea that I'd quite like to work in a tower, work approach, fly from the place that I worked from in my own time and that sort of thing. Thank you, Alan. Done it again, haven't I? There we go. And yeah, so, but it's funny how all that phraseology that I used to have, the knowledge that I had back in the early 90s when I was on the course, has completely gone out the window, and I've really am having to start again, especially when you're talking to an AI controller. Now, this doesn't feel right. This does not feel right. I can't help but feel that ATC has forgotten about us. Last instruction, turn right, heading 110, vectors for ILS runway 28 approach. I wonder how long we let him carry on, you know, on this heading. I feel like he's gone a little bit bonkers. Yeah, you guys should be able to see the. You should be able to see the screen now with the scenery, hopefully. Okay. Now, this is an interesting one. So. I can do, Alan. Let me see. It's AI, so it should understand it. Repeat last instruction, RAF Air 2343.
Repair 2343, turn right heading 110, vectors for the ILS runway 28 approach.
Turn right heading 110, vectors for the ILS runway 28 approach, RAF Air 2343. Which is exactly what I've done. So at least I know the ATC is still awake. But it does feel like we're being vectored a ridiculous distance away. I'm wondering if at some point he's going to say anything. And I'm kind of thinking, logically now, if I was a pilot, I'd be saying, hello, do you still want us to do this? But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the phraseology for that would be, if I'm honest. I could ask for... What could I ask for? I could ask for direct, couldn't I? Request direct to LRAW, RAF Air 2343.
RAF Air 2343, direct to Elroy approved.
Okay. Okay. I guess at least we're going to be going in the right direction here. I wonder what he would have done if I just left it. I wonder if it would have just carried on flying off into the distance. And I wonder now if it will remember what I'm doing and will it hand me on to the tower and all that kind of good stuff. Certainly with Pilot to ATC, sometimes it was almost like a sequence of things that it had to do. And if anything went wrong with part of the chain, it would throw everything. Now with SayIntentions, I have noticed that, for example, yesterday it kind of froze at one point, and I restarted it, and I was able to pick up exactly where I was. So it does seem to be quite intelligent from that point of view. Let's see where we are. Yeah, that's working okay. We're at the correct altitude. I'm going to come back on the speed just to actually no, because we're bleeding miles away now that we've been vectored. This is one of those areas of MSFS where the scenery is a little bit dodgy, to say the least. There's obviously not much in the way of Bing maps, so you get these odd, feels like we're back in P3D or something like that. Get some odd tiles going on. I have got some scenery for Bardufoss, I should say. This is what Airside designs. It's his scenery, and he's also got some photo scenery around it. So once we get a bit closer, that should be rather nice. Let us hope. So, quick recap where we are. We've got the right barometric setting because it's the same as standard. We are inbound to LRAW so that we can establish on the ILS approach, and otherwise everything else is absolutely fine. Yeah, the scenery over here looks a bit better, doesn't it? It's obviously just that one patch where it's missing some Bing data or something like that, and you just get that weird generic stuff going on. Yeah, that was some very strange air traffic there. It's the first time that's happened to me in this. I must have done maybe 6 flights, which isn't much, but it's the first time. It's the kind of thing that Pilot to ATC did to me a couple of times. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, it's come back again. My Pilot to ATC screen blanked out. Let me just check actually and see if it's still doing the same thing it did before. If I try and put it on the screen, where's it gone? Yeah, you've still got that blank screen, haven't you? I can't read it because it's too small, but could someone type in the chat what COM2 frequency is, if you'd be so kind? I just want to see, it looks like it's different to what I've got. So I just want to figure out if maybe it's somehow linking to, I don't know what it would be linking to. It's almost like it's got a stuck, it's almost like it's linking to a screenshot. 123.9. Okay, that's right. And sorry, what's the squawk, Alan? Is it 5143? Okay, cheers, Alan. Yeah, I have no idea then what is going on there. It's obviously a window within a window or something like that. So it's showing you the frame, but it's not showing you everything inside. Okay, that's fine. I can figure out a way around that for when I use it again. Right. Everything's okay there. Speed is good. Nothing's coming through there yet. Just increase the RPM a little bit. Take off prop sync. Landing lights are on. That's okay. Boom, 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 boom. Fuel is fine. That's all good. Everything's okay down here. That's where it should be. Pressurization is good. Okay, everything's looking fine. We've got a rainbow. Check up here, both generators doing well. Just still see the scenery through the murk. Now this is going to be interesting. What is ATC going to do now? Let's actually I can do it on here, can't I? You can see that, can't you? Yeah, so this is where we are, coming up to Elroy. We are okay for that. Oh, that's a good point. We've jumped a point, so actually we need to, oh no, According to the chart at LRAW, we start our descent to 5,200 feet. That's fine, it's just telling us we need to be above 5,200 feet there. Oh, that's interesting. Let me just lock that off. There. Wrong button. There we go. Where is it? I've switched to using a TV instead of a monitor. And every now and again, especially on a long flight like this, it asks you to press a button on the remote. So it was just asking for that. So yeah, that is looking okay. It's all going to be down to what is the ATC going to do now, I think. While I remember, let's just switch that in the box. It's always quite interesting flying around mountainous areas when the visibility drops. Especially when ATC has been vectoring you around like a lunatic. But that's okay. I just find it amazing how all this comes together. I mean, just silly things like that. So on the COM1 there, we've got Echo November Delta Uniform radar, and then we've got Bardufoss approach over there. So that all matches up nicely. It's just kind of cool. Sims are an amazing thing these days. I still get a kick out of little things like that. Okay, I'm going to leave the windshield icing on actually. De-icing rather, just to be sure. Where's the, there it is. So it's 4 degrees out there, chilly to say the least. It's going to be cracking flying around here for the next week. Anyone who's doing that group flight from the Discord, I think you'll definitely have some fun around here, no doubt about it. So hopefully the weather improves a little bit. Low level through the valleys in the fast jets in this kind of murk will certainly get the hairs on the back of your neck standing up. Okay, just come back on the power a little bit. Keeping an eye on things.
Vertical track.
Also interested to see what the autopilot does. I've never done a direct to on a point within an approach, so I'm not quite sure what the GTN is going to do. So I do need to watch that. I'm hoping it's going to go into approach mode. So at the moment I've just got my hands on the throttles. My hand on the throttles. How many hands you got, sunshine? Just keeping an eye on that. Keeping the speed relatively low. Watching the autopilot, see what it does. Make sure we don't have any more mistakes. Okay, so there we go. So, brilliant. It's gone into approach mode and we're now on the ILS. So now we need to come down to 5.2. And let's IS. Again, using IS mode so we don't overspeed. This is not the most picturesque approach I've ever done, seeing as we can see Naffle, but that's real world weather for you. Okay, quick check of everything. That's okay. That's all good. Cheers, Felix. Thanks for joining, mate. Okay, need to get ready to take over from the autopilot. Tower is 118.1, so I'm just going to plumb that in. Decimal 1. Okay, we're still descending to that. Established on the ILS for runway 28, rough air 2343. I should have thought about that. I should have said established on localizer. Really. I don't know if that's going to throw it.
Rough Air 2343, continue approach, contact Bardufoss Tower on 124.0.
Continue approach, contact Bardufoss Tower on 124.0. Okay, now that's interesting because it's given a different frequency to the one that's in the top, which makes me a little bit nervous because that makes me wonder what it's going to do. Bardufoss Tower, rough air 2343, established on the localizer runway 28. Let's dangle the Dunlops.
Bodo approach. Contact Bardufoss Tower on 118.1.
So now it's telling us to change to another frequency. Contact Bardufoss Tower on 118.1, rough air 2343. This is when it all starts going wrong. 1181. Bardufoss Tower, rough air 2343 with you, established on the localizer runway 28. Gear down, that's all good.
Rough Air 2343, Bardufoss Tower, winds calm, runway 28, clear to land.
Copy the winds, runway 28 clear to land, rough air 2343. Okay, there we go, there's the runway. Autopilot is still on. Really is rather murky, isn't it? Quick check, there's a bit more power. Everything's looking fine. Does look like we are a little bit off. It must be a... I wonder if it's a slightly offset. Yeah, it looks like it's a slightly... Is that a slightly offset ILS? Yeah, offset by 2 degrees. Read the charts, sunshine, read the charts, and then you'll find out. Again, it's one of those little things. So I've, jumped in the aircraft, knew my route. I haven't looked at the charts before I've flown. I've put the charts up, and if you study it properly, as a real pilot obviously would do, then you can see that there's an offset by 2 degrees. So that's why we're flying the ILS nice bang on, but actually the view is a little bit dodgy if you were expecting to be coming straight in. Okay, I'm going to disconnect the autopilot now. There we go. So that I can make a complete hash of it. This is the bit where thankfully I go quiet. So I'm looking at the instrument rather than the runway lighting. The pappies. Checking the speed. While I remember, something else should really have looked at was the checking the ATIS. Would have been a good thing to do. So don't forget we've still got that 2-degree offset. So now we're going to come back and line her up.
500.
A little bit of turbulence. Reverses on. And back. There we go. Whew. Now I'm just going to keep it rolling down the runway for a reason, because I want to see if ATC kicks in.
Rafair 2343, welcome to Bardufoss. Exit at Charlie if able. Taxi to parking at your discretion and stay with me.
Exit at Charlie and taxi to parking at my discretion. Stay on frequency, Rafair 2343. So there's Charlie. So that worked nicely. Right, let's raise flaps. And let's come off the runway. And let's have landing lights off and strobe off. So, where should we park? I think we should go by the tower. Watch the speed, sunshine. Yeah, we'll go over here. Oh, look, we've got someone beckoning us. So let's do the right thing. This is a welcome at Bardufoss. Bardufoss. I do love these little marshallers. There we go. I don't know if him about to stick that in his ear is a way of saying don't be a prat. But there we go. So we've got parking brakes on. Okay, and let's now have take the tail flood off, have that off, leave that as it is, that's there, and we can close down the engines. Take all these off. PTA can come off. That can come off. This is a quite a haphazard shutdown. I do appreciate. Right, that's a good. That's fine, and everything. Oh, avionics off. There we go. Aircraft shutdown. So there you have it. We have arrived relatively safely in the gorgeous King Air up here in Norway, And yeah, it's a shame. I wish I was going to be there tonight, really, because I think they'll have a great time on the group flight. I will just one more time pop it in the chat here. So if you arrived late, what I've just done is a leg of a group flight that's going on in the Aerodrome Discord tonight. I've just put I'll put a link, hopefully, that will appear in the chat at some point. And then, yeah, if you want to have a go, if you want to go along for that, feel free to join. And it should be a good laugh. And thanks for Eugenator for organising that. That's a very... Oh, Angel. I see. I know Angel is from the Discord, so I know that he's arrived for that in his jet. Yeah. Cheers, Aidan, and thanks to everyone for joining. Much appreciated. There wasn't much to look at. There was an awful lot of my waffle to have to listen to, but it was an interesting flight for me. Interesting to check what I'm doing. Like I said earlier, whenever I make mistakes, that's my way of making sure that I log that, so that simple thing like putting the arrival in and one letter out, just clicking the wrong arrival, that should be something that without any doubt, without any stretch of imagination, I should have double checked, and I should have double checked it en route as well. You probably noticed I was doing an awful lot of checking, and that's why, because I'm just trying to make sure everything is in place, and that's the one quite important thing that I didn't check. And yeah, what an absolute buffoon was I. But anyway, at least I spotted at a point where I could correct it. And then we had the ATC vectoring us off. Part of me, if I wasn't streaming, I probably would have just out of interest seen how far it took us out and seen what corrective action it took. But there's only so much patience people on stream can have. But it was interesting that when I requested directs to LRAW to get us back onto that arrival, it allowed us to do it. So it's great. It wasn't completely broken. It just needed maybe correcting a little bit, or just giving a little bit of a nudge, and then it got it back on track again. And apart from that, it's worked absolutely flawlessly. So that was very interesting to see. Anyway, enough of my waffle. Thanks ever so much for joining, and I look forward to seeing you on the channel again very soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.